Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to YouTube that's working, Weekly Steelchair, where we have a 2 hour show for you. And we're going to be doing double crossover today. We're going to be doing a little bit of Dynasty, and we're going to be doing a little bit of WWE, but we're not going to be talking WWE in terms of storyline. We're going to be talking about WWE in terms of title picture and title futures and what we see. But of course, it's the People's Champion, the host of the channel, the one and only. It's me. It's Reece. Hello, everybody. And of course, beside me is a story finisher of her own right. She has got a book. Let me plug it for you. 1 second. And then we will dive into Ailey's introduction. But in the meantime, co-host, how are we?
I'm doing all right. We're doing okay. Yep, it's good. So this Sunday seems to be giving us similar weather to most days recently, but we're still in high spirits despite the fact that the amateurs are going to come on tonight at for what, like 1 o'clock UK time, and they're going to shit the bed. But we'll be talking about how they're going to do that. And then, as you
Some will
said
not.
there, we're going to be discussing the title pictures, specifically Raw, right now.
Yeah.
And I understand that in the draft that might not be the case, that the Raw titles are those. So to clarify,
Hmm.
today it's World Heavyweight Championship, Intercontinental Championship, the Women's World Championship. So Rhea Ripley's one, well, was Rhea Ripley's one.
Cheers, Liv
And
Morgan.
we're also going to potentially discuss the women's tag, and obviously we've got Raw tag champions to discuss as well. And we're just going to see where we
Yeah.
can. We're just going to take it where we see it going, and we're just going to talk about who we think maybe hold the belts, who we think be the potential title pictures, potential feuds, and also where we can see that shaping up as far as WrestleMania 41. Before that,
Mm.
we've got Dynasty to get into. Thank you very much for the brief book plug there as well, people. Available from Amazon, of course. You can go and find it there. Just search the name, search the title, do what you want, but I would really appreciate it. But are we all good today then, Reese?
Yeah, I am. Thanks. Not gonna lie, I've only been up for a bit less than an hour, but I'm actually quite good. Ready for this though. Very interesting show. We've got some of these matches I am looking forward to. Some of them, no. Some of them I'd rather just not be on the card. Like there's one or
Yeah,
two that
well,
I
as it
actually
tends to
would
be
reduce.
for a WWE drone like myself, there's nothing I'm looking forward to at all on this AEW card. But as we go through it, I'll talk about why. And why ultimately I'll be catching it on a replay, which I will of course pay for. I'm not a pirate. Wink, wink. So we'll be talking about this show. Just the main card. Tony still feels like it's okay to put 12 matches on one pay-per-view card. He's hidden 3 in the pre-show. Um,
He has.
one of
There is
them's worth a shit. Um,
one thing is certainly worth knowing at least. Is he learning a lesson? Is he not learning a lesson? We're going to find out. But I'm going to share my screen in the circumstance. But it seems that he is going to merge titles together, which, in a logical sense, is long overdue.
It absolutely is, but it's only overdue because he bought Ring of Honor just for a media library. Um,
Yeah,
if
but
he'd have bought Ring of Honor and run it properly, we wouldn't be complaining. Like he literally, it's going to go down as one of the most baffling moves in wrestling history, and Tony Khan might fill out a top 10 at this point on his own. But why would you buy another company? Because I mean it's going out of business, and you could say what you want about Tony Khan saving Ring of Honor. He killed it. Tony Khan killed Ring of Honor because they now don't have a TV show, and they're very soon not going to have any champions. I mean, if you really look at it, Eddie Kingston's Ring of Honor World title got folded into something called the Continental Crown.
Mm-hmm.
So that disappeared. So the Ring of Honor World title that you love so much, with the legacy that was attached to it, with the matches that were attached to it, the names that had held it, the names that had held it multiple times, those greats, and obviously people that we see now being great in other companies, AEW or WWE or otherwise, but Ring
Mm-hmm.
of Honor is where they got their start, and Tony Khan went and killed the lineage for the title. But, okay.
Yeah, I
Now he gets to do it with the Ring of Honor six-man belts, which was obviously, I mean, I couldn't tell you if chicken came before egg, but I've always thought that six-man belts were a really sort of Eastern wrestling thing. Like, I understand why they do it in Japan,
it
and I
used
don't
to
know
be in
which way round it
WCW as well.
was, but did Ring of Honor
WCW
and
and
WCW do it
ECW did
after
it
in
as well.
Japan?
Yeah. It started in
Yeah.
Japan, then it did start in Japan, and then it crossed over to ECW. Paul Heyman utilized it with the likes of Rey Mysterio. And then when Mysterio obviously went to WCW for the bigger payday and obviously the bigger national coverage with like Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, and Juventud Guerrera, the six-man title as it was back then. It wasn't called trios, but it was the six-man title back then. It went over. There was a main division and there was a cruiserweight six-man title division. That all crossed over. The NWA as well, I think, did it at one point, but it didn't last long. Also back
Right.
in like that period, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever
But
went
again,
as
like you,
far.
you see my point with this here, though. Like Ring of Honor's titles have a whole bunch of lineage and
Their own right.
history, and but I find it so disgusting that this new plastic, no lineage, no history. The trios titles are like just over a year old,
Hmm.
or they just under. I can't remember if it's 2023 or 2022.
Just about the end of
But obviously,
2022.
it was when the Bucks came back from their suspension.
Yeah, that was 2022.
Yeah.
They came back
Um,
earlier. Because Omega returned in 2022 and they were involved in the tournament.
yeah, and Death Triangle were the first. Or like not the
Death
first,
Triangle.
but they won it because the Elite were suspended.
And Death Triangle were right there and then in the best position to do it because they are a legitimate team. Well,
Yeah.
they were a
But I
legitimate
mean,
team, they're
we're
not anymore.
talking Death Triangle, then Elite, then House of Black, then The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
Or you're talking 15, 20 years of history. But
Yeah.
anyway, so we know that the AEW World titles will be the ones that are kept, the same way that the AEW Continental Crown has absolutely taken a dump on Ring of Honor as a serious, legitimate thing. It's gone.
That's been put into its own that's it seems like you've got the Triple Crown thing that they had spoken about and now they've gone down in the route of just having individual gold. Like we already know the strong championships already got the never open weight strong's gone back to New Japan because it's in the hands of Shingo Takagi. He's got it because he beat Evil the other day. Thank God. Fucking can't
Yeah,
stand
and I
Evil.
get it, because Tony can't win either way here, because he can't win if he keeps the titles separate, because even though that keeps the lineage separate, there are far too many titles on AEW.
Hmm.
But if he then brings the titles together, his ego will not allow him to kill the AEW title.
Like there's certain
His
titles that I
ego,
would remove.
the fact that AEW, he's gone on and said, oh, from 15 years old, when I was booking my show, I was always calling it Dynamite. He can't get that out of his head. And
Hmm.
because he can't get that out of his head, that is his baby, and they're always going to get the preferential treatment. That's why Ring of Honor didn't get a brand split. That's why all that happened was that AEW hoovered up a bunch of contracts and put them onto a show with no TV deal. Like,
Yep.
that's why all their titles are dying. And don't be surprised when, regardless of whoever wins that pre-show match, they'll be the new AEW Trios champions.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I don't mind a trios tag team match. I think a trios tag is fine, but I've got no interest in the six-man tag team titles. I only like tag
They
team
ruin
titles.
tag divisions. They actively ruin tag divisions.
It takes away numbers from a tag division.
Yeah,
It's okay to have the odd now and again like larger like six like 8-man tags
yeah,
or
but
whatever
okay,
like
so
for
have a
fun, but
faction like Dark Order size, but there were multiple tag teams in Dark Order.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't mind like the odd tag match where it
Yeah.
has like multiple men involved or multiple
Well,
women involved, but we don't need
theoretically,
trios
Judgment
tags.
Day have two teams.
Yeah, you've
So
got
theoretically, there are two potential title-winning teams in Judgment Day because you could go JD and Dirty Dom, or you could go Finn and Priest.
mhm, mhm.
Like, and that's fine. That actually is better.
And equivocally, it is the same once Bullet Club Gold is actually fully at its numbers. Like when
Yeah,
like when you actually think about it, they're more suited for it. I mean, like the Guns are a legitimate tag team because the Acclaimed are pish, and then you've
yeah.
got Jay White and Juice Robinson are a legitimate
Who
team
are
as
two
well. Like they have
singles guys that work well as a team, but they should be two singles guys.
the greatest singles as well. But yeah, absolutely, as a team they
But
work really well.
again,
Similar,
we can have this thing where they can be singles stars and in a tag team.
and that works. Like some great teams
Yeah.
have done that together, and it's good wrestling. Like it is good
Well, I know
wrestling.
they
If you
didn't have the belt for any length of time, but no one thought Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso were going to be a team for 6 months.
mm,
It
even
still was nice to see them work together.
even I have to say as well, like Big Bill and Ricky Starks actually works well as a team. They work well
Yes,
as a team, and their single starts. They're
and
one of
Ricky
the genuinely
Starks brought promos out of Big Bill, which is impressive.
better than Enzo Amore ever could.
Oh yeah,
Good-
absolutely. But
My
yeah,
God,
basically, I just the other thing is though, like, and
go on.
NXT Black and Gold did this. I remember one
Yeah,
match where they did play into this.
yeah.
Freebird rule.
Oh, I love the Freebird rule.
I can't remember which team it was. I feel like it might have been Sanity. They
Sanity
used
done it,
Freebird rule to their advantage
and it was
because
good.
so what? They thought it was Dane and Wolf who were the actual opposition, and then
Yeah,
Eric Young took his jacket off.
that's right. Because we had
Like, yeah,
there's so many great teams that have done the Freebird rule. Like obviously
yeah,
the
and
fact that Freebirds
AEW could
invented it,
easily do it
Demolition.
because for everything you're saying about the Acclaimed being rubbish, which they are, like
You've got
Billy
Billy Gunn
Gunn
there
could
as
at
well.
least freebird it, you know, and then like they could all be recognized tag champions. It's not like it means more to be holding one of the bits of metal, but it's fine. You can
And you get rid of
still
Max
be a
Caster.
champion. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, you know, there's like 10 minutes done on a match that we weren't actually predicting, but you know, we'll
I've
jump
I've
into the main
written
card now. But I
I've written
just,
predictions for predictions for all three. Not that I'm really bothered. I'm hoping Bullet Club Gold win this. I've put Trent Barretta. I think because he's recently turned heel. I like Matt Seidel, but I think it's pretty obvious that Trent Barretta like
yeah,
recently turned
Trent
heel. He's
Barretta's
going
getting the
over.
win. Yeah.
And then the third match, I've just put Shibata to win because he's the only one I actually care about. But I'm not even bothered about the pre-show. Like I'm just not like I've just got no interest in pre-shows.
It's interesting that Orange Cassidy's been bumped to a pre-show. Really shows the fall of that guy.
Yeah, there's some talent that don't mind being on a pre-show because they know they can get last minute buys, but like him being put on the pre-show, I admit is funny.
Is it not a sign that Tony Khan might be worried and like panicking? This is a guy that
Maybe,
he has put in the main event. Like less than a year ago, he main evented a pay-per-view.
potentially, by circumstance, but
They've done a
again,
reverse Usos with Orange Cassidy.
mm, yeah,
Anyway, so on to the first match on the card, and
Yeah.
for, why? Why did Edge do this?
It's not the match I wanted. Like, it's definitely
No,
not
I
the
want to
match I
see
wanted.
Edge work singles matches in his last year.
I wanted, I still wanted Copeland in the match. So, but I wanted this. I wanted Copeland
Yeah,
versus
did that not seem to
Malachi
be what
Black
it
on
was
the Raw.
building to?
That's what they were building to. Yeah.
Yeah, and Edge talked about, so once again they'd have to refer to a WWE thing to do it, but that's not exactly going away from the status quo of AEW. Um, Adam Copeland as Edge in the WWE, when he came back, cut a promo about all the people he was excited to work with, and I believe Aleister Black was one of the names that he said.
I believe so. Yeah.
And Aleister Black was bin less than a year later.
Hmm. But
But
legitimately,
he
it's
was
still
one of the
someone that
names
should have
that was
happened.
mentioned, and it's a match that we still should have seen by now somewhere.
Yeah.
And Tony's now got
Absolutely.
all the tricks, but he's like, no, because everyone needs to be on the card, so do a 6-man tag. And hey, this might once again just be because he's a massive mark for Japanese wrestling. Like, Japan love to do that 6-man tag to get you in your seats, get you comfortable. And they love doing a bunch of tag shows, like 3 days out from the actual what what is a pay-per-view event, but they probably don't call it that.
They still do. They still
Oh, they
they
still
still
call it
do.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
All right,
fucking
cool.
premium live events is just so shit. I think.
Hey, there
God.
still hasn't been a bad premium live event, so as long as that continues, I will gladly forfeit the name pay-per-view. Um, but yeah, so do you not think that's what this has the energy of? It's like when they'll get the three undercard guys from Suzuki Gun, and they'll fight the three undercard guys of Bullet Club. So you'll have like the Pimp and Fale and Chase Owens, and they'll go up against, I can't remember, the guy who attacks Funky Weapon, Taguchi, with Yoshi Hashi
Yep. Yep.
and Goto, or
Yep.
whoever the hell they would throw in as the third guy. But it has that energy about it, and that's such a shame for the stars that are in this.
In terms of this actual matchup, when you look at it, in terms of team dynamic, it's sort of like for like. Like Copeland and Malachi Black are your actually no. Let me scratch that. Briscoe and Black are more of like the heavy striker in a way. Brody King, I'd say Eddie Kingston, but he's not believable. He's just a fat cunt. Eddie Kingston and Brody King are your powerhouses, or one's a powerhouse, the other attempts to be. And Adam Copeland and Buddy Matthews are like your all rounder.
Yeah, I I
I
feel
think
like the
five of
heels
this
are
match
much
works.
better wrestlers. Like, and that's a tricky position to be in because usually with a 6-man tag like this, it's like, oh, the faces are like the best wrestlers and the heels are despicable. But I look at House of Black and go, no,
They're
you're
all.
genuinely a lot better than like everyone you fight, and that's including Edge at this point. Like, sorry, Adam Copeland. I'm trying
I,
to
th-
separate them.
I think
I'm
Copeland has had some
trying
decent
to look
matches
at them
lately,
as
but I
separate
would
people.
agree. I think Copeland has had some decent matches lately, but I do agree. I think the likes of Black, King, and Matthews are right now on a different level. They are working really well, and I think it's because they've just. You can clearly see that they're not just working on TV; they're clearly working together behind the scenes.
Yeah, and they should have Julia Hart at ringside for this, and like unanswered. So there shouldn't be a face woman that comes to. I know that there will be because Copeland helped someone,
He helped Willow Nightingale.
Willow. Yeah, but then Willow's in the money situation, so
She's
I
well.
don't.
That's well, that'll happen later on. But in the meantime, like they
Yeah,
do
so
have their
it
own
could
match later in the
happen, and
show.
then it could, yeah. So it could happen, but she could still be there. I'd rather just have
Yeah,
Julia there, like unanswered, because people
wouldn't be
were
a bad
really
idea.
liking what she was doing.
I like what she's doing. I
And
like Julia Hart.
yeah,
I like Julia Hart.
yeah. So she should be at ringside for this one.
I actually think
Yeah,
that's a good idea because you can have them and like you could have either Julia or like Willow. Well, theoretically with Julia because she's a heel, you could have Julia maybe take like a cheap shot at Willow before their match, so it kind of adds a little bit of heat.
yeah,
It does add
yeah.
it, by
It,
the way,
it
but
could.
it's if they do it. I don't know if they will, but I do agree. I think you'd be wise to do it.
Yeah, I feel like they've made it really. But we'll get to how that hurts the head when we look at the match 7 on this list, because again,
Hmm.
we're talking about Willow, and there's just it's a
I like
mess. Anyway,
I like Willow. Willow's good. I like Willow. I think she's
so
generally
I
one of the
mean, the
good ones.
faces are going to win this one, aren't they?
I hope not. I've actually gone House of Black.
Okay,
I
you
think
can put me
right.
down. You can put me down for the faces winning this one because Tony likes to feel good.
The reason I've gone for House of Black is because I actually want to see them prolong the feud with Copeland without Kingston and Briscoe. I think you can get more out of it. That's why I've
They
gone
could
for the House of
prolong the
Black.
feud with Copeland if Copeland pins one of. I imagine Copeland pins Malachi in this. I
Yeah.
think it's too feel good because Eddie Kingston's one of Tony Khan's favourites, and Copeland's. If we look at the sentiment online, he was brought in and meant to be a huge deal, and they've brought in 3 other huge deals since. So how huge a deal actually was he? And Mark
Mm.
Briscoe, well, Tony Khan still gets, internet hate because he didn't book Mark Briscoe right after the tragic passing of Jay, which is not
Thankfully,
subjective. That is an objective comment. He did not book Mark
that's
Briscoe
true.
right after Jay Briscoe died.
Mhm. Yeah,
He
all
eventually
respect
got
to
round to doing something, but
yeah, all
no.
respect to Claudio Castagnoli's title reign and all that. Like, it should have ended with Jay Briscoe's passing. It should have led to Mark Briscoe beating Claudio for the Ring of Honor title. He shouldn't have lost. As much as I like Claudio Castagnoli, I do agree at the time like it was the wrong decision.
Yeah,
It was the wrong
yeah.
decision.
But yes, you could
Um,
you could pop me down for a big old
yep,
baby face victory for that one,
I have
and
done
then
indeed.
get to this.
Yeah. Right. First of all, I'm trying to find a praise, but I actually do have one
Go on then.
slightly. One, the name that Hook's in the ring with on a pay per view. At least it will get him more attention. Problem is that I think Hook has something for the future. I think Hook does have potential, but I don't think he's going to amount to something great like his dad. His dad was by far the better talent, the better worker. In terms of Hook, though, I cannot take the whole FTW championship seriously because the FTW was an ECW thing, and that is solely where it should have been. We don't need the FTW championship in 2024. If you're just going to
No,
have a
and we
pay per
don't
view,
need you to be fighting for it like it's recognised when we know that it isn't recognised. The whole point of its introduction was that it's not a recognised title, so there shouldn't even really be challenges
it's
for
just like the
it.
$1 million title. It's just like the $1 million championship, etc. Like it was just because Ted DiBiase could not win the WWE title, so here's the title he bought and paid for. That's all it is. The FTW championship, we don't need it. Just if you're gonna have Hook versus Chris Jericho, then just have Hook versus Jericho in a match on
Yeah, well, look
Dynamite.
at how quickly. So when NXT brought back the $1 million title, look how quickly they got rid of it.
Yeah, because nobody wants it.
Yeah,
Oh, and you'll like
just
this. I think Solanke's just scored for Bournemouth.
nice.
Yeah, thought I'd give you that.
Yeah, no,
I've
big
got
fan of that.
I'm I don't. this is one of the 3 matches on the card I actually on the night maybe 4 that I don't actually have any interest for. If this had just been a normal match without the Fallen Time World Championship, then I would have had it. But again, I don't need it. Because it's the FTW title, and he ain't gonna lose it again. Like I'm just gonna give it to Hook. I don't particularly care about this match. The only thing I like about it is the fact that Hook at least gets a good veteran in the ring with him, and Jericho at least will not. Jericho will not give Hook a awful match. He won't do that to him.
No, but I mean, so we'll see because Hook could once again just do what he did against Samoa Joe and take a bunch of moves and then not sell them. Like no selling's
Yeah.
supposed to be some kind of oh he's so tough. The heart of this kid. It's no. He's literally he's not selling, and at times he's not even registering that stuff hit him. So
One thing is
maybe
though is
Jericho will be able to stop
Jericho
him
takes
doing
that
that.
seriously though. Jericho
Yeah,
does
I
take
don't
selling.
think.
He takes selling very
Yeah,
seriously. I think
yeah. So
Jericho
maybe
will
so maybe
really try and get
Jericho
into
can
him.
have like a quiet word like, "Hey, you should probably like the moves that are hit on you are supposed to hurt. That doesn't mean that you're dead, but they're supposed to hurt. Like make every blow look like it means something. Because otherwise, why did I just hit you? If you're not going to do anything with it, why
You can
would I
definitely
actually hit you?
you can definitely have sequences where you definitely don't sell a move, and that's actually fine. That's standard in a wrestling match, but don't
Yeah, but
overdo
Hook
it.
does it so often.
Yeah, as a drawback on him, it's a shame because he does have good technical ability. He does. It's
Yeah,
just that.
but I'm with you. I think Hook wins this match. I can't hear and new FTW champion Chris Jericho. The only
This
reason that would happen is that Chris Jericho wants to be the FTW champion, and then he'll go through
yeah,
another reinvention, and he'll go to his ECW phase, and they'll get like
which
I don't
hasn't
know
happened enough.
RVD to come back and fight him for it, or I don't know.
Mm.
I wanted to use a more niche like ECW name, but I don't know who's still alive.
Well, Raven's still alive.
Well, I wanted to
Um,
say Mikey Whipwreck, but I don't know if he's still alive.
yeah, he's still alive.
Oh, good on Mikey.
Mikey was a good guy. I had
Yeah.
no issue
So
with
so
Mikey
if
Whipwreck's work.
Mikey's still able-bodied, then it'd be nice
I,
to
f- I thank Mikey Whipwreck for
get him back.
I thank Mikey Whipwreck for doing one of the most important things in pro wrestling, giving Steve Austin a beer.
Yeah.
Apart from his work was good. I thank him for that, obviously, but I thank him for the fact that he gave Steve Austin a beer. Um,
Yeah, just a really forgotten name. Speaking of forgotten
underrated.
names, Undisputed Era. Anybody?
At least we're getting, at least we're getting two that will genuinely have a good match together.
Yeah, at least this will be a good match. And these two will sell for each other, and
And I like the way they
hopefully
built
Roderick
it.
Strong can
Yeah,
keep the comedy to a minimum.
I don't know about you, right? But this is the one thing I do like. I know obviously this has been built over the last couple of weeks, but they've really like it's not because it's been slow build. It's the we didn't know if Kyle O'Reilly was going to be on Dynasty, but we know that he's been having a very interesting work of matches, whereas Roderick Strong obviously is still involved with Undisputed Kingdom, etc. And it's about where he was going. I like the fact that they were celebrating with Kyle O'Reilly following like his recent match they had, obviously. But then Kyle O'Reilly comes out to help. It was on Battle of the Belts. Kyle O'Reilly does come in. He
Oh,
does, but he does come in
yeah,
and gets involved. He does
I
come in and
don't
gets
remember
involved.
who it
He's
was that Roderick Strong put away on that one belts.
yeah. Um, but he does come out, and then the one thing that he does do, at least Kyle O'Reilly, is he's basically just trying to warn them off, and then boom, they turn on him, and I'm like, thank you, because I really want to see Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly, because it's just two genuinely good pro wrestlers, it's two good human beings. and you just want to see them have a good match together because when they work well together, they work really
Yeah,
well.
yeah, absolutely. So the question
And I
I'd
can't fault
ask
them for the
about
team.
this match
Hmm.
is, will Adam Cole be involved?
I don't know because he's not been on. He hasn't been like physically on TV. He's just been doing vignettes. He's been
I
doing the
know.
discussions for like the likes of Wardlow and all that. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
a good
almost like they
question.
shouldn't have booked it, so he was the mad genius behind all of this, you know? Like, 'cause then he's not been on TV. Wardlow lost, so, that looked great as well. Um, they haven't done anything.
Yeah, I
They won the Ring of Honor tag belts,
they
but
did.
that was also before we even knew who they were.
Yeah, they picked them up like beforehand, like which does not help. They should have done it after.
Yeah, there should have been some moment where it's like, yeah, we did it. And then, okay, well, what about Roderick Strong? It's like, okay, hey, well, Roderick Strong won another plastic championship. Like, what does the international championship mean? It's had 90% of its bloody life cycle around the waist of Orange Cassidy. So, not really going to accept that one. Um,
At
just,
least under Strong, at least it's got someone that you know will actually
oh, yeah, good
try to
matches
lose
are
them. And
absolutely a thing. But at the same time, I don't feel like when Roderick Strong beat Orange Cassidy for this title, there
hmm
was any sort of, oh, it's a big moment for the Undisputed Kingdom. And the reason that it wasn't is because no one cares about the International Championship. No one really cared about Orange Cassidy at the time.
hmm
And no one has cared about the Undisputed Kingdom because you got the wrong booking. Like this
Yeah,
story was flawed and wrong.
there
And you
is
built up all
obviously
that intrigue. You should have just made it NJF.
yeah, and that's funnily enough where I was coming to. We don't know if he's actually ready to return as well. I think he might be. There's a weird chance if Adam Cole does get involved, maybe MJF actually shows up.
So NJF's Kyle O'Reilly's friend.
Potentially. Or he just wants to get right back at Adam Cole.
Anyway, I think Roderick Strong's going to retain here because literally the Undisputed Kingdom will have nothing if.
I've actually
The
gone the
the
same, but for
only way
different
that I
reasons.
can see Kyle O'Reilly winning this is if Adam Cole is there, kicks Roderick Strong out, and promotes Kyle O'Reilly. And if
Maybe.
that doesn't happen, there's no way that the babyface Kyle O'Reilly is winning this title. Because then the Undisputed Kingdom might as well pack their bags.
I've gone for Roderick Strong purely because I think you don't need to have him lose the first one to Kyle O'Reilly, but you can definitely build up on the fact that well, Roderick Strong is definitely one for legit, like even though he's a heel, he does more win cleanly, or he does well win by just absolutely brutalizing folk. You might see where he gets a little bit desperate and he gets disqualified against Kyle O'Reilly. Could get a little bit desperate in that way because he just can't seem to beat him, and then you get the rematch and then Kyle does win. Kyle could win there decisively,
Yeah, no,
and I wouldn't
I
mind
could
that.
see that.
I think you can have a good
No,
amount. I
I
think you
mean
could have a good couple of
it's a
matches.
good series of matches, but it will be a good series of matches. It won't be a good feud because in their current form, the Undisputed Kingdom will not have a good feud because they haven't meant anything. They need to mean something.
They need it. They need the likes of MGF and another, like maybe another to
Undisputed
be
Kingdom,
against them.
if they wanted to mean something, after they helped Samoa Joe beat MJF, they should have put Samoa Joe on the show.
Could have,
If they'd have
but
just gone out there and injured Samoa Joe, therefore making there had to be a new world champion. They engineer Wardlow to win that. Wardlow's then your world champion. Okay, you have Ring of Honor tag champs, the Kingdom, for all that means.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Roderick Strong would have his hunk of plastic. At least it'd be the world title. It's worth fearing. I feel like that's something WWE just did right with the Judgment Day. Is that at the very least when Judgment Day stand there with like the world heavyweight title, oh right, so now you guys ain't messing around. That's what
Mm.
Undisputed Kingdom should have done.
Potentially, yeah.
But yeah, so you could put me down for Roderick Strong
I have.
retention, and then we're on to this. So okay, Mercedes Monet joins this company, and she has an unresolved issue, a gripe of sorts, with Willow Nightingale.
Yeah.
When she joins the company, we don't hear from her exactly what this gripe was right away. She eventually said that she got injured in a match with
Mm-hmm.
Willow. Which once
Mm-hmm.
again, you're like, okay, we're perhaps peeling back the curtain there, brother. We don't necessarily want to do that, brother, because, well, again, it's so the injury was in a match,
And it was not intentional
which,
either. It was an
yeah,
accident.
which is it's a horrible thing to do, but it can work. We did just
Yep.
recently see it work with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. They brought up an injury from 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen. But in
Absolutely.
this case, why did Mercedes Monet mention it for Willow to then win a different title shot? And this whole time, Mercedes has just been kind of watching it happen. I feel like it's fairly inevitable that Mercedes is going to cost Willow.
She's either gonna cost it, or if Willow beats Julia, and Double or Nothing is next. Mercedes Moné has consistently mentioned Double or Nothing. She's gonna call her shot right there and then and go, no, like I'm coming for it.
Why
I
doesn't
think
she
if
go for the world title?
I'm not actually sure.
Because
Like I don't
once
like.
again, it's this stupid thing of like, oh, but all the belts mean the same thing. It's like, well, they really shouldn't, and this one really shouldn't, because it's a TV title.
Hmm. I like the fact at least they're trying to put more effort into it. Because
No,
you're
there's
giving.
effort that you can put into a TV title, but it should also be a TV title, and therefore there should be a certain level of star that's going for a TV title. And when you pay the money that has been reported for
Hmm.
Mercedes,
Yeah.
why is she coming in and wanting the TV title?
Feel like as if she wants to add them all. Like she calls herself a CEO, so maybe she
Okay,
wants to
go
add
for the
them all
world
into one.
title first. Surely you have that swing.
But could
Look at
also
who's
be as well.
in the world title, the women's world title match.
Yeah, I like Thunder Rosa.
Mariah May, like Mariah May's there with Tony Storm. Why doesn't Mercedes just go out and take out Mariah May and say, "I'm in this match. It's a triple threat"?
Well, for one, Mariah May soon will be turning on Tony Storm.
Yeah, and that's going to be bloody brilliant as well. I don't get why Mercedes
Yep.
Monet's in this company. Like, what does she add?
She adds her own dynamic, but the only thing is though is
Well, by definition, everyone adds their own dynamic. Everyone is their own
should.
person, but I'm wondering what she adds to this company that's paying her so much money.
Well, we know
She
well
is
we know well enough
not.
that we
She's
know
not a
well
good
enough she's a good
promo.
worker. We
Yeah,
know
but
well
she's not a
enough
good
that she's a good
promo,
worker.
and we haven't seen her work.
Not yet.
So
Not
why
yet,
doesn't
sure.
she have a match on this?
I wonder if she's not fully cleared yet.
Then why did she sign for that much money? You see, there's just so many questions that you can just go, okay, but why though? Why is that the way that you chose to do it?
There's so many things you can ask for anyone right now in pro wrestling. That's the weird thing.
I
There's so
think
many.
I think Tony Khan was terrified that Sasha Banks was actually going to go back.
I don't think he'd have cared if she went back. I think he just went, well, if the
I
opportunity's there
think
to
he
take her,
would
then
have.
I will.
I think he absolutely would have because he knows what that would have done for WWE's business. Because WWE would be able to put the four horsewomen back together, and they've built up four women of their own. And obviously, you still have Damage Control knocking around, so you've already got two tailor-made matches for the horsewomen.
Potentially.
You could have done the horsewomen versus Belair, Cargill, before she got hurt, Rhea Ripley, and another. It could have been Liv Morgan, could have been Tiffany
Ugh.
Stratton, could have been Naomi if you really needed
Get
it.
her packed up. She needs to go.
Yeah.
She needs to go.
Mm.
Tiffany Stratton would be a lot better.
It could be Naomi because that's the way that they like to go with these things. Could have been Nia Jax. Like
Yeah,
there were
yeah, actually.
tailor-made matches for the four horsewomen coming back, and obviously that revitalizes the women's tag division, which we will be talking about how we'd fix it. But yeah, I think Tony Khan was terrified.
Sorry for the post match celebration. We've actually taken the lead.
Oh,
Of all shocks,
got
it's
that.
Scott McWanker that scored.
Oh, nice. He's been your best player this season.
Yeah, he wishes.
But
It's
yeah,
not a bad goal.
so as far as this thing goes, Julia Hart will just
Yeah,
say she retains. It doesn't make sense for Mercedes to not go for the world title if she just gets to choose which one. Anyway, it's fine. On a
if
match
she
that some people will be
if
looking.
she was
Oh,
involved
sorry.
though, I was gonna say if she did cost Willow the title and then she went and won the world title, right there and then her first challenger is Willow Nightingale. It's right there.
Or you could tell a longer story rather than shit in the bed in 2 months, and you could have that it's Willow's road to get to Mercedes.
They can do that. They've done longer runs
But
before.
yeah, have they?
Yeah,
What, like where it was evident what the end goal was?
yeah.
Okay.
Like
Who's
Hangman's specifically, definitely his end goal was Omega. That's one. Like, that's one in particular that stands out. But it's a manner of like how
yeah,
would they
but he
do it with Willow?
wasn't. He wasn't. So like Willow's angry Mercedes from the very start of Mercedes' reign, actually before Mercedes' reign kicks off.
She does get her there.
Hangman and Kenny were tag champs, like at the same sort of time.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, they pushed through the story. The only reason that the story didn't happen that quickly is because Hangman got hurt or had to go away and be a dad. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
Maybe both. Maybe both. Anyway, speaking of people that I wish would go away, Here's one that went away for a long time, and I'm glad to see him back. It's
Me too.
Pac. It's a shame because he's not winning, but he is back.
And he's going to have one of the best matches of the night by a long distance.
Depending.
Well, he's in the ring with like himself, a very good worker who will sell for you
Yeah, yeah.
and will actually
I
let
just,
him make
I,
use of his offense as well.
I'd just be wary of buying into the hype. You know, these two have never had a match before. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
True, but I also think if you're going into a situation like that, but also in some circumstances you rush it, then it definitely doesn't work well. I think if you really want to have a good match with a certain high level opponent, then you will take the time for it and you'll work it to not only yourself, you'll work to them. And I think we've seen that from Pac, where he will work to someone like one of Pac's best ever matches, funnily enough, was the pay per view match he had with Kenny Omega. A lot of people thought that wasn't going to work. Not because they're bad, they're not. They thought because of how fast they work, they can work a slow match, but they do like to work at a certain tempo. A lot of people thought Pac versus Kenny Omega wasn't going to work, and it ended up being really good. I think in terms of
Yeah,
circumstance
so
here,
so maybe
it
maybe
can work.
Pac's track record here sort of not
It
saves it. That's the wrong word, but it
it definitely
maybe
it's
gives
definitely not a
people
save.
more hope.
It's definitely not a save job because when you look at who he's in the ring with, it's not like he's in the ring with somebody who needs saved like a fucking Eddie Kingston, which you can't save anyway. But in
Yeah,
terms of
but
like an
let's
actual
just
like
make sure that this is Okada and
it is.
not what we've been seeing of him with the Bucks.
I think what he's been doing recently is like
Let's
he's
just
actually been
let
different. Like
him let him be Okada. Let us just forget that the Bucks are involved with him for this match because it will taint it for me. Like if the Young Bucks decide that they're like, oh, we'll be at ringside, like cheering them on and stuff, that's gonna ruin it for me because
you're not allowed.
I
It's
can't.
Continental Classic rules. You're not allowed anyone at ringside.
Okay, who could break Continental Classic rules and get away with it?
They're not allowed. Like
Okay, but they're the
it,
EVPs.
it still they're not allowed. It's
But they're
no
the
interfere.
EVPs, so they can just say that it's okay for them to do it.
It would get overruled though. Like in terms of the actual Continental
But
Classic
who would
rules.
overrule it? The whole point of the story is that Young Bucks are in Tony Khan's pocket, or Tony Khan's in the Young Bucks' pocket.
Yeah, but they're not going to.
So the Young
Eh,
Bucks could very easily interfere.
This will just be 1v1. I don't think you'll see Young Bucks interfering. If they do, then. Ugh. But
Well,
I don't
why
think they
else
will.
introduce that stipulation if not just to break it?
Yeah, but again, that'd be like asking why certain people can only work with a ref bump because they can't work a match. But in circumstance, I don't think we're going to have that issue. I don't think we will. If anything,
I hope
this will be
not, but
decisive.
I can see it coming.
I hope
You
not.
know, and if
This
you've noticed, I've predicted like run-ins on like 3 or 4 of these matches. I know how AEW's pay-per-views work.
hmm
Like, you know, 80, 90 people on the card when you include the people that run in. Just
hmm
ridiculous, ridiculous numbers of people. And Tony Khan can't help himself.
It's a widespread issue across wrestling, that's for sure. We don't need a lot. We don't need a lot.
Well, it's to be honest, it's why I don't really watch SmackDown or Raw. Like I'll catch the highlights and I'll catch like good matches.
But the TV
I'll catch
segments are
things that.
weak.
Well, I don't like the TV matches because a lot of them, and like this is sort of the point. The TV matches are there just to get you to the bit that you need to get to. That's why, it annoys me more when people say like, oh, like the wrestling, like those moves, they aren't real. It's like, no, I know, but I'm watching for the story. I want to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I want to see Ricochet do a new flip I've never seen before. If he does that, fantastic. Really
Yep.
lovely stuff. But you watch wrestling for the story. So when I watch like WWE's like weekly programming, I don't necessarily care about the matches, especially when there's a manager. Like when the heel manager is at ringside, I can already tell what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm all
That's just
for
how that works.
I'm all for it. I do like a match being like a story being told through a match. I've always said that I don't mind promo based or segment orientated storytelling, but I've always preferred match based storytelling because at least I can see where it's going in that way, and that's fine. But I also like to see just how the dynamic fits, and if it does fit well, then you've got something. If not, then cool. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I suppose the main tragedy here, at least if it does remain a one-on-one match and the Bucks honor the stipulation and don't get involved, um, the only shame is that Pac is not winning, and it's weird to have him return with a loss.
Mm,
But Pac isn't winning this match.
no, he's not.
So, yeah, I mean, best you can get is a good match and an Okada retention, which is fine. But again, you pay all that money for someone, they're fighting for a title that you just made up.
He's
But
not a
in
bad
any
choice to have.
case,
He's not a bad choice to have of it, regardless.
if this is the order, then it would play a little more into what I'm saying.
I don't know what the order is. If it ends up being this order,
Yeah.
then mm,
If they end up doing it in this order and the Bucks follow this match, because they'll interfere with the Okada match, but it will just be like their entrance or something. And then like they'll go on the mic after and they'll be like, "Oh, sorry, man. I mean, someone must have, hit the wrong cue or something, or got the timings mixed up." And that never happens on here because the Bucks would never resist the opportunity to lampshade some criticism of their own company's show. But then we'll get to this match, and the Bucks are going to win, and it's
yeah,
going to be too much.
I've already put the Bucks down
And
as winning this
the
one.
Bucks are
Just
going to run this match, so it's not going to be as good as um, not the Wembley one, the one before it.
I
'Cause the
didn't
Wembley
want
one
this
was
match
rubbish.
anyway. I wanted the final to be Top Flight versus was it Private Party? I think it was. That's what I wanted. I wanted completely something different. But
Yeah, but I see why they didn't do that. I mean, you can't trust Top Flight because one of them will just break next time they go to clean their teeth. Um,
the minute this match ends, I think you'll see the Machine Guns debut anyway. It's already been confirmed they're going to AEW, so I do think they'll potentially debut
yeah.
after this, and that'll probably be the highlight of the entire match. I
But
get it's a
again,
ladder
this
match,
is what's
cool.
weird about
Don't
the
care.
EVPs. This is what's weird about playing an EVP thing. Because if the Motor City Machine Guns are going to debut like, and they're going to run down after this match, the Young Bucks would have to know about it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it
why I
just
kind of like
doesn't
the fact.
work because they're going to have
That's
to
why I
act
like the.
shocked for something that they knew was going to happen.
That's why I. That's why I do like the fact that Omega's come out and he's confirmed that if he could give up his EVP status and all that shit, they would. I like that. He admits that wrestlers shouldn't be running wrestlers. I like that. That's why he's the only genuine one I like. For that very reason.
Well, I mean, there were some interesting comments from Kenny recently, where he certainly sounded a lot more human than the Bucks ever did.
It's because he is.
So yeah, so there could be something to that. But yeah, I mean the Bucks are going to win this, and FTR. Well, you chose this, gentlemen. That's what you
Mm.
wanted to do. You couldn't
I'm
just hold
hoping
on.
they'll
You
be.
couldn't just wait.
I'm hoping they'll actually be good because it's a ladder match and I've always liked ladder matches, so I hope it's good. But again, as much as I think it could be, it might not be. I didn't want Bucks FTR 4. I didn't want a fourth match. It's like Cena versus Orton or Cena versus Edge. Too many matches and I lost interest. This is another one where it's so many. I don't give a
Yeah,
flying fuck.
especially because they're not really ripping it out of the archives. Like they last did it in August.
Yeah, like you can't change. How are you going to change the dynamic in the space of 8 months? Like, what are you going to
Exactly.
do differently? What are you going to do differently this time? If they do something different, then cool. But I don't know. At least they'll
Well, I
make. At
guess
least by
the
adding a
Bucks will work more heel.
potentially, if you're adding a match stipulation, at least there's different ways to work. Like so, like the spike tombstone, for example, might be used differently, or they do you like the like FTR's tag finish like could certainly be different as well. It could be done from a ladder. Like they could do something totally different. Again, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but
Well, I mean,
I'm not
these
sure.
guys should be able to have a standard tables match,
Mm,
or something, something that has like finality to it, but isn't like a live beheading.
surely this will be the
Just work a
if,
tables match. Go 20, 25 minutes. Oh, did he go through the table? No, not quite. There's been some great matches like that.
and work the arena as well.
Yeah,
Work
centered around going through the table. This is for the title. The team that puts the other through the table. You can even do elimination if you want, though I'm not really keen on
yeah,
that.
could
Um,
do.
you know,
I just
I think
if
there
anything,
could be a really cool spot potentially where you could end up essentially putting two people through the table at the same time, so you've got to go to a sudden death, like you've got to do it again, sort of thing. If you really want to do two table spots, have
potentially.
like have Dax suplex Matt through a table that Cash is lying on, and then you would have like, oh well, who won? I mean, they technically both went through the table.
And you can't have a draw for a vacant title in this circumstance. You need to have a decisive match.
Exactly. So like there'd be cool things they could do with it, but no,
A
never
ladder
mind.
match at least as well. A ladder match at least as well as decisive as well. So that's still another
Yeah,
possibility. I
a
do like the
ladder
table
match
idea.
would work. I just think they've done too many of them.
Yeah, I do like the table idea though. It's not a bad. It's not a bad
So,
thing. I do like that
but anyway,
idea.
The Bucks should win. The Bucks win no matter what. So,
Yep.
yeah, I guess this ladder match will be all right. But no, I mean,
It hasn't been
there's
unique.
nothing to build around. There's nothing to build around for it.
It's more or less just building up. But this is the fourth. This is the fourth one. The title's vacant, and they are probably the two top teams. But that's just the more like it's the name and what they've done elsewhere. But well,
And maybe Kenny's played everyone, and he's going to come back and help the Bucks.
possibly, although I'm not sure if he will.
No, I mean, based on what I've heard about Kenny,
I don't think he's
he's
fully
nowhere
recovered or
near.
close.
He's nowhere near a return.
I hope he doesn't
But
get to miss All
yeah,
In. I hope he at least. I hope he is available for All In. Like I hope he does. If not, then oh well.
yeah, he could
Uh,
fight the scapegoat.
I won't. It won't be. I don't think it'll be against him. That I do see that uh, incoming though.
Oh,
Like
the
I
scapegoat might help in this match.
he is rumored to be returning very shortly.
Hmm. Well, we'll see. I mean, when you talk about like, okay, is is my booking for this show a bit busy? Yeah, but remember, I'm booking it as if I'm Tony Khan here. So, like, I've booked for the Bucks to cost Pac against Okada, for then Jungle Boy to help the Bucks beat FTR, and then you've
Hmm.
kind of got your new like
Elite.
elite EVP thing. You know, oh, it's a mess. Um, Match number 7 for the main card will also be a mess. I'm just saying it now. Uh, I liked Tony Storm once ago. I was a big fan of Tony Storm. I was really angry at Charlotte for running her off, basically.
It's because
Um,
Charlotte's not a good pro.
yeah, I mean we know that now, but I mean at the
Well,
time
we
I
should
was
always
just
know.
annoyed. Yeah, but I was just annoyed because I liked Tony Storm. I thought she had like great potential to be like, if you look at the opportunity that Io Sky got, and I suppose coming back to something I was going to say about FTR, but applying it also to Tony Storm, sometimes I sit and I look at people, and maybe it's less for Tony Storm because, I can say what I want about a lot of these people. At least Tony Storm has genuinely been used, like, and cared about, and the stuff that she's been in has mattered in the division that she's in. She's not been brought in to do like undercard stuff. Like,
No.
she is fighting for the top prize. She has multiple times won the top prize on offer in her division in this company. And at that point, I think it'd be very fair for you to call me unreasonable if I said she should be doing more. Like, honestly, what more could there be? She's fighting for the top
Hmm.
prize and she's won it multiple times. FTR,
Yeah.
you could potentially say the same thing. But there was a
Hmm.
long run there where FTR were just forgotten about. And I just wondered what goes through some of these wrestlers' heads when they weren't prepared to wait. Because if you look in 2022, certainly late 2022, and
Hmm.
you tell me that the writing wasn't on the wall for Redacted to leave WWE, like to be kicked out, for all the legal stuff to kick off. Like, if you honestly tell me that the wrestlers around there hadn't spoken to someone who
Yep.
goes, I would hold off because like I can see this coming. FTR's deal came up in 2023 because they only
Yeah.
signed a 2-year deal.
Hmm.
Why did they re-sign if not just for a bunch of money? You can't tell me this is what they want to do. You can't tell me that they look at DIY having their first WrestleMania. They look at that ladder match that happened. They look at the tag divisions that we've got forming now on the main roster of WWE. They look at all of the exciting talent down in NXT and they go, nah, it's better to go and lose to the Bucks again.
I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure. Like
Well, in any case, who have you got for the Women's World Championship match? Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. I think only the third time we've seen this.
it is. I mean, as much as I like Thunder Rosa, I've gone for title retention anyway. Because I think the whole idea is you're building towards I think they're good eventually when she returns. I think they're building to Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter.
Is there any news on her?
I haven't seen anything. Like I
Are
haven't
they
seen.
keeping her wrapped up for All In?
I hope not, but I honestly don't know.
I think she's the sort of person that you can't just have show up at All In. I think she'll have to be on a TV show before it.
I think so. I don't think they're going to have her
Because
as a mystery opponent.
I just don't think the casual wrestling fan who will go to the Wembley event, or who at least has a chance of going to the Wembley event, will pop for Jamie Hayter.
Mm.
I don't think they know who she is, especially because she's been off TV over a year. It's just not. I don't see what good comes of doing that. If you just go, okay, and Wembley, there you go. And some people will go absolutely ballistic, but I don't see 70,000 people losing their minds over Jamie Hayter.
Even though we know that she is genuinely good.
Yeah, I suppose another thing to ask is, what is Club Venus?
Club
Are you
Venus.
aware of this?
No.
I think it was called Club Venus. So on Rampage, Mariah May ended up getting fed champagne through a kiss.
Oh, right. That
Or,
was that was the
or she
Stardom
drank
stuff.
champagne and then got kissed.
That's the Stardom stuff. Yeah,
Right. Is
that's
that going to be present
is
here,
sorry. Aye,
or
that is looking to be working into aye, Empress Nexus Venus, or as Club Venus as it's called. Yeah,
yeah?
there's
What
a
was
few. Like,
her?
there was a lot like
I don't want to
Mina.
butcher it. It
Aye,
was a Japanese woman that
it's Mina Shirakawa. Yeah, because that's who was on there. Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May,
Shirakawa.
Zaya
That's it.
Brookside, Xena Jesse, and Waka Sukamiya. Yeah, there's
Isn't
a
Zaya
lot of good talent.
Brookside like 20?
Yep, and she's in TNA.
Yeah,
She's
that's what
signed
I
with TNA.
thought. I swear,
Yeah.
she like signed. She was in that women's. Last time I watched Impact, I think it was a 6 woman. Oh, it was the Ultimate X,
Yeah.
and Zaya Brookside was in it. And the comments, I swear, said something like she was 21 or something.
Yeah, she's very young. She's very
Yeah,
young,
so,
Cyberxy.
that's rather inappropriate for her to be part of this.
Well, Stardom
What
do like go
appears
work.
to be a. Have I got the gimmick right? Are they a ring
Yes, they
for a
go to
certain
the
type of
length.
activity?
They go to the length.
Right,
I mean, like
cool.
we definitely do see, obviously with them doing wrestling, they do it, but there's a level of it.
Well, AEW is the perfect place. That's all I'll say. But yeah, you could put me down for Tony Storm retention there as well. And then we're on to a match that, okay, I'm intrigued, but please don't go too far, guys. Please don't. I want to
I
like this.
I don't think they'll
I'm
go
going.
to the length that Stardom did, but they will feed
Yeah.
into it.
No,
Like they'll feed
no,
into it,
no.
but they won't
I'm
go.
saying for the next match, I've moved on.
Oh, you've moved on to
Yeah,
this
that's
one.
what I'm saying. Please
Yeah.
don't go too far because I haven't been able to enjoy pretty much anything that Brian Danielson or Will Ospreay have done for the past at least year, maybe year and a half. And there's one common denominator, guys. You're going too far. These matches are ridiculous. They're not believable. And the last match I watched Danielson have of any meaning was just flat out bad. And again, you
Which
could
one?
probably attribute that to Eddie Kingston.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that was just a bad match. Last time I watched Will Ospreay work a match, yeah, it was a nice one. Didn't mean anything, but it was a nice one
Mm.
against Takeshita. So
Yeah, they had a very good match together. And to be fair, I thought Osprey had a good match with Claudio recently. I thought that match last week was actually quite good.
yeah, Cesaro puts me off. I don't watch anything with Cesaro in it.
In terms of mic work, he's boring, but in terms of actual work,
Cesaro's down there for me as one of these crybabies that it's just he became synonymous. So whenever something would happen in WWE, he was like Rusev. Like you would always see fans on Twitter going, "Well, why isn't Cesaro getting a chance?" And it's like, right, I get it. He's a good wrestler. He can't be the world champion.
mm,
His mic skills are terrible. And yeah, fair enough, it's not his native language. That's fine. So if he had a manager, if he was the Paul Heyman guy, that would look more believable. But as like a babyface, straight talking top champion, no.
mhm.
And there's a reason they had Eddie Kingston beat him for the meaningless ROH World Title.
Yeah,
But I mean, you must be excited for this match, but you're not worried that they might just they'll think that they need to go and have this match that no one's ever seen before. And I feel like the internet, and it impacts AEW more. There is an element of it in WWE sometimes, but because WWE's main event scenes are usually driven on story, and that's why the matches haven't really been that great, in all honesty.
mhm.
I mean, Seth Rollins has good matches, but you wouldn't call any of Seth Rollins' matches over that reign like one of the best matches I've ever seen. Oh my God, seven
Yeah,
stars, Tokyo Dome. You wouldn't do it, but everything
no,
in AEW seems to get that energy, and certainly everything that Will Ospreay does, and to a lesser extent, everything Bryan Danielson does. So these two should just go out there, have a match. You've got like well, based on what else is on the card, you've got about 20 minutes, but you'll probably get 30. Just go
yep.
have a good match
I
because
think
your
they will.
names will carry a good match to a great match. But
I
if
think
you
you will
go
get
and
that.
you try to do so much and you do like the thing that takes me right out of Danielson matches now is when he fakes the concussion
Mm.
because like that is a legitimate thing. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to watch you. Like, why don't you care about this? This is a real issue. You know you could die if you get one more bad hit to the head. Why
Yeah,
do
I
you keep working the head? As for Will Ospreay, I watched him break his neck. So
that was
again, you're like,
gruesome.
just don't do it. Just you're fine. You guys have made your mark. Just go
Just
and
have an
have a
absolute,
match.
just have an absolute brilliant technical match that they're well and truly capable of, because
Exactly.
they've got the dynamic moves to do it as well, and they work really well technical matches. You've got something there that could get the crowd. I'm expecting the crowd to still be involved, but it might actually have an even bigger
This is
impact
one of those
for the main
jobs
event.
where the crowd chant "This is awesome" before they even lock up,
Yeah,
because it'll just be the very like it'll be like the Cody, Seth, Roman, and Rock thing, where they got the "This is awesome" before anything happened,
yeah,
because they've earned it on the names and their own unique records alone. So they don't need to go out there and reinvent the wheel. Just have a match.
exactly. And
But
I do think it will be, and I do think it will be good. Um, I
and
do.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to agree on this, but I mean, Osprey has to win, right?
Oh, 100%. I think when you're looking at it, Danielson, we know that he's walking away from being full time at the end of All In. in terms of circumstance, Will Ospreay's got to continue. Rightfully so. He is the younger talent. He is the one that they're looking at hoping to build their roster around. Besides one other name who we're coming to very shortly. I think when you look at it in the right manner, Danielson does not need the win at all. If he gets the win, then fine. But he doesn't necessarily need it. What he needs to do is just give Will Ospreay a great match to use as a platform for him. So yeah, I 100% agree. It should be Will Ospreay getting the win here decisively, and I think he will get a decisive win because that's what Danielson does pride on is a decisive result, and Ospreay will want to beat him in the middle of the ring, and I
Yeah,
think you're going to get that. I think you're definitely going to get a beat in the middle of the ring.
yeah. There shouldn't be anything screwy about this one.
No, absolutely not. Give them 20, 25 minutes and just let them run with it in the right way.
Keep the
Just let them
Callis
run with it.
family out of it. Keep Blackpool Combat Club out of it, and just
Just
have a
let
match.
just let just let two great workers do their job. I
Yeah,
agree. We don't need interference. We don't.
just go and have the match. We don't need the interference. And
Absolutely not.
then I can't see there being any interference in this last match, but I also don't know who it even would be. Um,
I just hope that
Weird that this match hasn't not meant well, maybe meant more is what I mean, but it's weird that this match has been so relegated.
they've actually put effort into building this match. On recent dynamites that like in terms of circumstance going into it, they actually have.
Yeah,
Like
no, I get that they've put stakes behind it, and they did the contract signing, and you get the point that they're making, where basically, Joe thinks he's unstoppable, and that Swerve can't touch him at all.
Swerve
And
has
Swerve
definitely
is
been
basically he's in like his Suicide Squad phase, like the pain only spurs me on. It's
one
like
thing we can
what
see.
Moxley wants to be.
Hmm.
Moxley wishes he was as good as Swerve, but it's the same sort of thing. Like, no, I like
Yeah.
blood, I like pain, I like getting my ass kicked.
What we're gonna see though in the circumstance was they're clearly firing into the Swerve, like the Swerve rocking in terms like he's in this position now where he is over with the crowd. He's now had this like his second world title pay per view match in a row. Obviously, the last one was the triple threat, and we discussed that. Obviously, Hangman taking the fall in a way, pissed off Swerve. So Swerve went, "No, I want the one-on-one with Joe." He believes and he knows that he can beat Samoa Joe in the ring. Joe's being booked as that champion who thinks he can't, as you said, he can't be beat. He thinks he's untouchable. He thinks he's invincible, and he's got the physical presence to prove it. And in that way, it works. But Swerve, the way he works in the ring, as much as I like Samoa Joe, and in the right meaning of it as a monster heel champion, Swerve with the way he moves in the ring, his his offense, he could in a way run circles round Samoa Joe. Not in a way that the champion should be run circles round, but he can run circles round him where the challenger looks like the challenger's actually in the best position to go. There's no fucking way you're walking out this pay per view with that title. Like, it seems as if Swerve is ready to just go and take the title in the best way. And I actually hope Swerve wins the title because I think
Oh
Samoa Joe
yeah,
has done
I
enough to
hope
establish
Swerve
it.
wins the title.
I think Joe's
I
done a
think that
decent
there's
job.
a freshness there. You know,
Yeah,
I just
I think
I wonder then who his next challengers would be. Maybe be looking at Osprey coming out of
I'm hope
this. Obviously, I mean maybe Okada would be in the conversation, but again, if he's defending his own thing, this
I'm
is the
hoping
other
it's
problem when
Swerve
you have
Os.
so many titles.
I'm hoping it's Swerve Osprey all in. Like that's what I
Yeah,
hope for. I
so
hope it's Swerve
you'd have a
Osprey all in.
defense to fill.
Could we maybe actually? Hold on.
Top dollar, I agree.
No, he really needs to fucking burn in hell. He needs to burn in hell. Um, I was gonna say maybe could we see if he does return? Could we see MJF try and get into the mix as well, back into the mix? But Swerve does beat him.
I mean, maybe that's an interesting. It's weird. They have so many people and so few people I care about.
The
But
one I did,
NGF could
I just hope Swerve gets.
potentially
I just hope he
happen.
gets it. Yeah, I just really hope Swerve gets this title.
It'll be interesting though because like so Swerve winning is going to be like big babyface moment. So
Hmm.
who's that heel that you'll put him up against in May? Who's the heel that you'll put him up against at Forbidden? I mean, Forbidden Door is less of a problem because you just go and
I
take
would.
someone out in New Japan.
I think if you've got it right, I would. I think you're good to see Okada. I think. I think it works.
So
What's
you
up,
think
Roman?
Okada
What's
could
up?
go for the world? Oh
Hello,
yeah,
Roman One
hello.
Kenobi. Good to see
How
you,
we
Roman
doing?
One Kenobi. The best name on YouTube by a fucking mile.
It's quite good that, yeah.
It's
Quite a
peak.
clever one.
It's definitely just so good. In terms of the actual workaround, I think Swerve versus Okada would actually that would move me in the right way. I mean, I like both. I would just get to see them work it. Be interesting to see what they would do though. We'll see. I'm not sure, but
Interesting to see what they would do. Yeah, that's a fair point.
well, it's interesting to see what they would do because again, that would be a first. But it's also in the similar. They are similar weight classes in terms of like actual weight. They are similar for offense, and obviously
That would
Swerve
be the
can work.
real test for Swerve
Hmm.
because
And
Okada's name has been, what, a
around for a
decade
long
now?
time
It's
since
over a decade,
2011
actually.
since
Yeah,
2011 when he went back to New Japan. Yeah,
yeah, so 13 years.
and he's established
And
himself
Swerve's
as a
obviously been around, and
an Okada.
if I can be a little bit of a devil for a moment, some people know Shane Strickland from Evolve,
Yes, and that was good
but
stuff.
that you wouldn't really call that him breaking through. For a lot of
No, this
people,
is
Swerve
breakout
broke through on NXT.
and got away from
Like
three talentless
as in
hacks.
people realize, yeah, but as in like people realizing how good he was. I
There
mean,
is one good
is
thing
he
about
a
this hack.
former North American champ? Did he have that?
Yes, he did.
I
Yeah,
remember him being North American champ. I don't
didn't
remember who
last
the
long.
feud was with though.
It did not last long. There is actually one very good thing about the possibility of Okada versus Swerve. Like, there's
Yeah.
obviously Okada's still a young age. Okada's 37 in November, but Swerve on the other hand, he turns 34 in September. There's only
Oh
3 years
it's
between them. Like, there's really young. Like, that's
yeah.
good. Like, that is really good to build around.
It sure is.
Same with
That's what you want, you know?
same with like just double checking. How old is Will Osprey? Yeah,
33,
Will
32.
Osprey Will Osprey's only 5 months older than Swerve. His birthday's like literally in a few weeks' time. So he's
Hmm.
31 in May 7th. So
Yeah.
there's another
So,
young one. So this
we're
that,
getting.
that right there, this and that
Yeah, but do
three
they
young
have
staple.
enough of that though? This is so my question would be like because okay, if you put Okada against Swerve and Swerve wins, you've potentially seriously devalued Okada. But if Okada wins, then
Hmm.
Swerve's reign becomes like a token sort of. Oh, we gave him it, but he was never
Yeah.
actually going to be the champ. Like there isn't that obvious other heel who's just going
Mhm.
to go on a bit of a tear. I mean, Wardlow, but then you ruin the Undisputed Kingdom. This is the
Could we see?
difference between the WWE title like title scenes, which we'll come on to, and the AEW one. Everything that can happen in the AEW world title picture damages something that I don't think AEW can afford to have damaged. So they can't afford to damage Swerve. They can't afford to damage Okada. They can't afford to damage Osprey. Only one of them can be the world champion, and they don't have anyone else who can fill in as distractions for that time being.
You could, over time, you could get the likes of Jay White back in the main event title scene as well. You
Jay
could.
White would work, but then do we want to just throw him in again as like a loser? I
Wouldn't
mean,
wouldn't
again,
Froman.
maybe he's
Wouldn't
taking the
Froman.
Nakamura role and he's just happy to pick up his check and lose.
Mm, I hope
You know.
not. I hope not. But mm,
Yeah. But yeah, so in terms of who's winning this match, I think they have to go with Swerve.
they have to.
I think if they don't this time, then they've wasted something that people are really behind and in the moment, and you can't guarantee that you're going to get that same reaction again. There'll be a real feeling that this is Swerve's last opportunity, so
It
he's
has to.
got
It's
to
now
do
or
it.
never. It's now or
Yeah,
never.
he's got to do it.
Yeah,
So there you
absolutely.
go, a couple of disagreements, but mostly in agreement on that card, if for different reasons. But now on to something where I think there might be a few more disagreements, there might be a few more agreements. We're going to find out. We're going to discuss the Raw title pictures. We're going to
Yeah.
start with the women's tag team titles because you asked if we were going to skip them. And I said, no, we're going to fix them.
Yeah.
And the reason that I mention this is because, right, WWE do have some good women's tag teams. And they have fixed a huge problem, or they are en route to fixing a huge problem. They have teams that are genuine teams.
Hmm.
Like, there are people who can remain in a team. And again, people, we can do team and single. Someone can do both. It's fine. It will not break it. So
Yeah.
really, you could apply that across the board to every company in every tag scene.
Yep.
Just don't be afraid to have a singles tag star. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you look at the teams that they've got, or teams that feel like teams, you've obviously got the Witchy duo,
Yep.
who I'm a big fan of. You've got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, who do feel like a
Born.
team, who have had,
Just
but they are doing something interesting with them.
yeah. They're just
Candice
unoriginal.
LeRae sort of introducing Indy Hartwell to the dark side, sort of thing. I like it.
She's just copying Christian Cage. That's all she's doing. I mean, it's in a different company, but that's all she's doing. I'm just, I just think it's. I'd rather Indy Hartwell just be with someone else. Candice LeRae for me is washed.
Yeah, but who would that be? I think Candice LeRae works for now. I think she's
Yeah.
certainly she's not beyond the point where like, oh, it's a problem having Candice LeRae in there. I actually think it's quite nice to see her working again. But this is what I'm saying. This is going to bring
Yeah.
up some disagreements. I actually do like Candice LeRae. I'm a big fan of Indy Hartwell. I think she can do something.
I think
I
Indy
think
Hartwell
she's
is
just got
fantastic.
to
I
get.
think Indy Hartwell is
Yeah, I
fantastic. I
just
just
think
think
she's
Candice has
got to
done it.
get that right moment. She's got to get that right thing that engages the crowd.
Yeah.
And if she has the crowd on her side, she'll then, that'll sort of. I'm not saying like she's going to be the women's world champion sort of thing, but she'll at least be at the point where she can have a match for it and it's not ridiculous. And I think for
Yeah.
someone like Indy Hartwell, that's a fair level. Like, okay, you're a tag wrestler, and we can put you in a world title match, or we can put you in like a feud with a main eventer. And okay, you might not win, but for instance, if you feud with Becky Lynch, you're going to look okay. It's not going to be like we're just feeding you to her.
Mm.
You know, you can be an underdog babyface who's upper mid card, or maybe just mid card, maybe upper mid card at times, depending on who you have available and who you don't. But
Yep.
okay, so you've got Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, and you've got the Witchy Duo, who I really like, and I think that Kaylee Ray is main event level. Again, she would just need the American audience to see it, and that's where I think she'll fall down. But yeah, if you get the Witchy Duo together, it's something different. It creates a different sort of vibe. Your graphics team can have a lot of fun with it. So, there's two teams right there. You can keep either Bianca Belair and Naomi, or Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, or all three together. And again, they can be together without having to wrestle with each other all the time.
Yep.
It can be something that you go back to.
Yeah.
So if Jade Cargill is doing well as a single, but she loses the world title match, you're like, oh, what are we going to do? And I said, well, Bianca Belair's coming back from injury, or well, Bianca Belair's not really got much on at the moment, so let's do a tag run. They'll have some tag matches for a few weeks, and we'll see where that goes.
Not a bad shout.
You've got obviously both factions of Damage Control. I don't know where you would split who with, but I would go Io and Dakota and Asuka and Kairi.
Yes. 100%.
Um, so there's two there. You could even play into history because, well, there's two former tag partners of Dakota Kai, like rather high profile, on the main roster right now. And one of them's Tegan Knox, and the other one's Raquel Rodriguez.
I would say more Raquel Rodriguez. I think Tegan Knox is just all over the place, and
I
I don't
think
think they know
Tegan
what
Knox
they're doing.
should go back to NXT. I think she needs to work out what she's doing.
Yep.
But then I think you've got potentially, like, there's some really fun partnerships you can make, and they can be subtle, and they can
You are
just
missing a team.
exist.
You are missing a team.
Yeah, probably. I know that there's the KC Express or whatever they're called, the Cowie Girls.
I was going to say Caden Carter and Katana Chance.
That's who I was making the reference to. I heard that's what they were called, the Cowie Girls. It might be Kawaii Girls. I don't know. I didn't think you'd
Something
be
like that.
allowed to call them that. But
Yeah.
I know them as the KC Express.
Yeah.
Um,
A decent
but
team.
yeah, so that team's there. Yeah, like they are perfectly fine. They can be in the mix. There is nothing wrong with it. And then you're
You've
looking
also
at,
got
okay, well, is
you've got
there is
Baszler
there
and
other
Starks
stuff
as
I can
well.
do?
Baszler and Starks have
Yeah,
been working together as well.
yeah. I mean, that's potentially, again, it's just something that you fall back on. You call back to. You do things like that, and then
Yep.
you'd look at NXT. Do you have others that could either, like, because their partnership already form? So Valkyria and Paxley.
That is that partnership, or is that just Paxley being like an unoriginal stalker? I don't
But
know.
it wouldn't lead, again, it's a different dynamic.
It'd be an odd one, but yeah, it would be odd, but yeah, in that way.
And
Who's
then
the
that's before you talk about, like, would you have Becky and Charlotte again?
Oh,
Like
please no. That I
that
would turn my
uneasy
TV off.
partnership. Well, so the only way that I could see Becky and Charlotte working is if you got the women's tag belts to the point where they were established, and I would essentially have it that the witches have put a hex on them,
Mhm.
because that was kind of the point with the Raquel and Liv situation.
Mind you,
Was, oh
Mind
dear,
you,
who
Isla Dawn
cursed
is
that to happen?
Mind you, Eilidh on right now is too busy trying to deal with fucking Nick Aldis and Mickey James, so who knows where she's working right now.
Yeah. Oh, and
I mean,
Chelsea Green and Piper. That can still be a thing.
yeah, it's actually not a bad thing. Chelsea Green
I mean, maybe
is
Chelsea Green
still.
and Dakota Kai, honestly, vibe better.
Oh, is that free? Yes, it is. I'll take that. 3-0. Job done.
Wow.
Sweet.
So Manchester United pretty much 1 foot in the final, and
Absolutely.
pretty much both feet in the final, and they'll be playing Manchester City.
Yep.
It's going to be fun. Repeat of last year's final. Maybe it'll be more interesting. Maybe not.
Which very rarely
Um,
happens. You rarely see the same final back to
you
back.
do, yeah. I mean, Liverpool and Chelsea love doing it.
Yeah, true.
Liverpool and Chelsea
True.
love it back final. Um, but yeah, so based on what I'm saying, you have all the teams there, and the way I would book it is, and again, this is just because I'm a really big fan of this team, but I would like if you establish it. To establish it, you need to have a long reign, and you need to give it time. That long reign should go at least 300 days because you need to prove that it can happen. Now, I'm not saying they have to be defended every week on a show, but maybe just relax because we know that the 30-day clause is bloody stupid anyway, and you don't fulfill it anyway.
Yeah,
We know that you don't.
because it didn't last long for Rhea Ripley in contrast to Roman Reigns.
Exactly, and that's strange. That's really strange.
It
And
should
of
have worked
course, if
both ways.
Judgment Day got another girl on side, if they convinced another girl to join, then Rhea
Liv
Ripley could
Morgan.
have a tag partner again. You do.
I
That would
think
be
Dominic.
interesting.
I think Dominic Mysterio set up Rhea Ripley. I think Dom's turning on Rhea. Just putting
Wow.
it out there. I
Wow,
think that.
that
I
would
think
get
that.
Dom even more heat
I think that was a
because
genuine
Rhea
setup.
Ripley was the only one at Judgment Day that they liked.
Yep.
Oh, I like the way you're thinking. But yeah, like there's so much potential for it. So I would just have Damage Control currently have them,
Yeah.
um, and like that reign's been long, but you haven't really given it anything. So do something with this, make it different. Sort of lean in a little bit fiendish, but obviously not as blatantly outright horror, just creepy. Go more like cult leader inspired stuff, but with
Okay.
the witches. And they could have the belts like through basically, you don't have it so that stupid, ridiculous, mystical things happen,
Okay.
but you have it so that there's some kind of like within the world of wrestling there's a believable context that it is harder to beat the witches for these titles, and then you lean into it. You have things like seances in the ring as promos, like they light things in pentagrams and stuff, like
I've seen that
you know
similarly. I've seen that in the last year, and I do think it would actually be okay. Like I've seen that in the last
yeah,
year, like, and it has actually
yeah.
worked. So I think you can get something like that.
And then in the ring, it's just like it's harder to beat them. Not that they don't sell, not that fire bursts out from the ring as if they've summoned hell itself.
That
Just
would be fucking sick, though.
matches. I think the worst, I think, so the best that they could do for like spooky stuff happening without it being ridiculous
Be quite a
would
weird thing.
be to find, it would be to find a way to light the ring differently.
I've got a I've got a weird suggestion. Two suggestions.
Oh, man.
One,
Hmm.
similar to what they did with Kane when Kane debuted. You have you have different lighting. So like I don't know, like a dark red or like blood red color, like for themselves, or like
Yeah.
just to feed into it. And the second one is, I think the women's tag team title design is very fucking redundant and shit. So what I
Yes,
would
so they should
so
redesign the belts.
no, what I was thinking before you redesign the belts is you do what Perfect did to Hulk Hogan's WWE title. So what you do is the tag titles are the element of their, say, their power or whatever. Since they've now got control, to break the power, you just smash the titles right in front of them.
Oh,
So you've already beaten the champions down, but you can't get the pin or you can't force them to submit. So how do you really take their control away? You smash those titles with a hammer or something like that.
I
You
like
just
that. That's like the right side of camp for me. Like
like
it's the right
you
side of
throw
ridiculous.
you kill the power. You've got to kill the source. But what if the women's tag team
Yeah,
titles is the source? So you smash the titles.
yeah, and then you can design something that looks nice and all that. So yeah, I mean there are several ways that you could go about legitimizing the women's tag team titles. I think there is a way to do it, and if they can find the way to do it, do it.
Well, these titles are
But
6 years old, like, and they've never once
yeah,
been legitimate.
I mean, the other thing for them to do, of course, is merge them with NXT and have one set.
But then they not already have those, and then they've already brought another NXT Women's title
Yeah,
back. It
that's
didn't
what
last
was
long.
confusing. That's what was confusing. It was supposed to be. I thought that's what it was supposed to be.
One champion for all, and then you go on each brand and you defend it. But instead it didn't work.
Yeah, because then for those months where it's like, okay, well, we're not going to get you onto this pay per view, but NXT is doing a special show, or NXT is doing a premium live event, and you're going to go and defend it there.
Yeah,
There you go. Like this isn't. It doesn't seem that tough to fix.
yeah.
What seems even easier to fix because it's not broken is the men's tag team titles.
I'm not a fan of the design. I just want to put it out there. I mean, I think it's nice. It's better than the last ones, but I prefer the titles that were introduced on SmackDown. That was a little bit more
The
nostalgic, better
SmackDown
feeling for me.
ones are nice. Like
Yeah,
the Raw
but
ones are nice, but the SmackDown ones are like, ooh,
they're
that's a
better.
nice belt.
But it feels like I'm looking at like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I feel like I'm looking at that again. Like really good tag team title designs.
Yeah,
And like, that's what I want to see. I think they're an upgrade at least on the Pennywise titles, but they're just the SmackDown ones definitely are the superior design.
yeah. But anyway, so in terms of the Raw ones, we're looking at the title picture at the moment. So if you look at who's, and again, this is pre-draft, so all of this could basically flip round, but it's fun
I
to speculate.
I want to put this on the bat, and I firmly believe this. They got the wrong winner on Raw. It should have been the Creed brothers.
Okay,
The title win was so wrong. Like, but I did not agree with the the
I
outcome
understand
on
why they've
Monday.
done DIY, but I genuinely would only have this happen if DIY are about to turn heel.
Potentially. But I think I would rather have the Creed brothers turn heel because you've got an opportunity right there to do a team Gable.
Very true.
And that is literally what I said last week's show, or the week before. I was like, I just want them to turn heel and put these guys together because it's right there.
Yeah, kind of staring you in the face.
Just
It's
exploit
it's
it.
like it's like when Kurt Angle was meant to have an illegitimate son,
Yeah,
and Chad Gable was right there.
yeah. The one that people actually were like, this guy's a real
And they went,
Olympian.
nah, the other one. Like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
we'll give him the guy that can't work.
Well, he was able to work before. They couldn't see neck injuries coming. I don't blame them for that.
But Gable's just on a different level of work. So much
Oh,
better.
yeah, I mean, Gable's more of like the Olympic wrestler, absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought you meant
But you
can't work as in like medically. I was like, well, he didn't know he wasn't going to be able to do that.
no, I just thought Jason Jordan was okayish. I don't think he was that as good as Gable. I think Gable carried their team. And I'm just glad the benefit of like Chad Gable turn heel, just as a side note, the benefit of him turn heel is he gets away from that useless gimp Otis and that clown Maxine. He actually gets to work
What a
out.
way to say it.
I'd rather be honest. I don't rate Alpha Academy. I only rate Chad Gable, and I'm hoping he gets away from them because as a group they suck. I would rather he be with the Creed
Yeah,
brothers, and you get a real team that will dominate the tag teams, and Gable can,
you
I don't know,
get a
if he
team
wants the
that
IC
feels
title.
like it is actually a team. Yeah,
It feels
there's
like
more of a
2003's team.
joint up
It feels
image.
like Team Angle. It feels like Team Angle again for me, and I love Team Angle. That was such an underrated group.
Who doesn't love a bit of Team Angle? Um, yeah. So in terms of from Awesome Truth, you would put it on a heel Creed Brothers.
I really wanted heel Creed brothers. Yeah, I think you can have a
Yeah,
little bit of a short run for. You can have a short run if you want for Miz and Truth. That's fine. You can have a short run. Hopefully, this should not go more than 2 months because I think the Creed brothers theoretically could run with it for 7 or 8 on their own. They could run those titles on their own for 7 or 8 months, and it would actually be good. It wouldn't get stale. It wouldn't get boring because the Creed brothers are
yeah,
actually a very good team. I think the Miz and R-Truth had their moment, and that's nice. The R-Truth gets his WrestleMania moment, no problem. Okay, first title defense, take it off them. Like it would not hurt them at all. Like they're already a comedic group. They're not a serious group. So if they lose the titles in the first defense, it means nothing. It just
yeah. It
means
was
right now.
for the moment for our Truth. It wasn't.
It,
No one
it's like
wants to see a ridiculously long reign.
it's like Mark Cardona winning the IC title in the ladder match. Cool, you won the
Yeah,
title, mate. But you were
absolutely.
never going to be champ. You were never going to be champion for longer than a fucking week, and it lasted a
Yeah,
day.
no, I completely agree. Like it was again, it was this sort of, it was this token kind of gesture of
For
just yeah, no,
service.
you've been yeah, it's like you've been around a long time, you've put up with a lot of stuff.
You had to
Have
suffer
this.
John Cena. You had to suffer John Cena burying you in 2012. Like you've earned it. Had to get that in there because fuck John Cena. Oh,
Yeah.
Coventry have scored.
Oh.
Ellis Sims has scored at the 70th minute. Oh, you fucker. No, no, no. Do
Well,
not
Man
fucking
United were
bottle.
never. Well,
Do
Man
not
United were
fucking
never
bottle.
going to keep a clean sheet even against the championship side. So
We
you
never
know,
keep clean sheets.
yeah.
Don't fucking bottle it.
Uh, so oh, this stream could get hilarious. But yeah, so I'm gonna go a different way with this one. Because I would have the same sort of idea. So heel tag team, long reign.
Yep.
Um, but I would go with Gallus.
Okay, okay. You've got my attention
I
now.
would, yeah, I would get because Drew. Well,
We don't know what's going on with
maybe
him.
something we're going to talk about later with the world heavyweight title. But I can see Gallus being a strong threat. Um,
They are great. I like Gallus.
you know, and potentially it wouldn't even be Drew that they're under. I mean, that would make more sense because you know Scotland and all that. But it could easily be Sheamus.
I'd like an all-round Scottish faction. You know, Gallus with Drew and then Isla Dawn and all that. Is
Yeah,
the like Scotland just runs Raw. I'd like that.
yeah. No, it would be nice to see. But yeah, I say this because I think this Chad Gable heel run could potentially be undermined if he starts relying on other people again. So while I get your team angle point and I can see it and it would be really cool and the dynamic fits absolutely,
Hmm.
I also just think that this is supposed to be Chad Gable snapping. It's weird for him to go from one team to another team.
I think in the way you would just recruit them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no,
he still
I
knows he
get.
can beat
So
anyone.
yeah, so maybe he's like a more ruthless like coach. He'll resemble maybe like the teacher in Whiplash.
Yes.
Just like really harsh on his students, but his students like step up and are better for it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Um, but yeah, so I think for me it would be heel Gallus, and they would run it till you get that DIY moment. And I would not save that DIY moment for WrestleMania. I think everything gets saved for WrestleMania anyway. I would do it at the Rumble or at the show before it. I wouldn't do it in Saudi. I think DIY's crowning moment on the main roster would have to be in America.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Survivor Series,
That'd be
but then
nice.
maybe if they've got one between then that isn't Saudi, um, so you give Gallus if they're about to get drafted, you give them a good enough run of a few months. It doesn't have to be ridiculous because I don't think. Well, again, we'll come on to what I think for the world heavyweight title, but I don't think Gallus would have to have that for very long. They would still be established. They could even go back and forth with DIY for a bit.
Yeah, they could.
You could have a series like Revival and DIY.
We still
It could
have
happen.
Kaiser and we
Yeah, and
still have
Imperium are
Living
obviously
Kaiser and all that.
still.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah,
around.
Imperium are obviously still kicking around. I don't know how long for once Gunther's in the main event scene that we all know he's going to. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
long the other two will be around, but we'll find out. So if Chad Gable does form the Creed brothers into this tag team, he will obviously have to manage them, but that will be on top of what he'll be doing himself. And you can imagine, based on the events of Raw, that his path's pretty much set out the IC title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Chad Gable mid card title reign? Do you think it would be a workhorse type deal? Do you think that works with a heel champion?
I think for him it does in a way because he is a brilliant worker. I don't think he necessarily would go, "Oh, I don't need to defend my title this week, but if I feel like I can't be bothered, then I won't do it." But I think the one thing you'll get though is whoever really does take on Chad Gable will really need to up their game because he could run circles around them. In terms of a legitimate sense, Chad Gable can hurt anyone on that roster and no one can touch him. In a legitimate
Oh
sense,
yeah,
Chad Gable could physically break anyone on that roster and they wouldn't know what's happened. Like people think that Gunther would smash Chad Gable legitimately. Chad Gable would ruin Gunther. He would.
yeah.
That's
I
never
mean,
a.
because you've just got to look at the legitimacy of the
It's like if people were
the
saying, "Look,
pedigree
WWE needs."
there.
It's like people saying if WWE was full legitimate, then Roman Reigns wouldn't have been champion for so long. You're damn right, because Brock Lesnar would have been champion still to
Exactly,
this day.
and that's
Like
and
Brock,
that's
Brock
why
Lesnar
we
would have a
like the
10-year run.
fact, and that's why, well, I personally like the fact that it's not because I can't be bothered with
I
that
know.
guy.
I think in terms of the IC title
Yeah,
needs to be the IC title. I've always wanted it to be a working champion. I've always liked that. Like, yeah, you can have like the odd run like the Miz had, where he didn't always defend it, but he at least gave it the. It was always on TV presence, so
it
you never knew the IC
felt
title was going to
big.
be missed.
The
But
IC
then you
title
also
felt big on Mrs. West.
it won't be missed. I'm busy. Well, well, that was unexpected. My grand just randomly comes in and gives my birthday present, like from a week ago, like midstream. I
Listen,
didn't ex- I didn't expect that. I mean, I appreciate it. She could have got me after the show, but well, we may as well look at this on stream then. This is
all
new for
right,
the steel chair. This is new. What she bought me?
unboxing.
So she has actually bought me a Harry Potter wand.
Decent.
I think this is Harry. I think this is Harry's wand actually. I mean, she could have got me the Elder
Nice.
wand. Nah, I'm
And you can
appreciative.
stick that. Yeah. And
I'm
you could
fully
stick
appreciative.
that. straight up your candy ass.
Absolutely not. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, it is Harry's Wand.
Uh,
Yeah, I did not expect that at all.
so,
Thanks,
are
thanks, Grant.
we thinking? Are we thinking that Chad Gable will win the belt from Sammy?
I hope so.
Yes, but are we
I think it's
thinking?
right.
So I think at this point, if he turns heel and still doesn't win it, it's like, well, you
You'll
can just
never,
disappear.
you'll
Like
never
you're
guess.
done.
You'll never guess what's just happened.
But Coventry scored again.
Yep.
Is it 3-2?
Deflection, and it beats Onana. It's 3-2.
Is it
10.
3-2?
It's 78 minutes gone as well. They scored twice in 8 minutes.
You're gonna drop it.
We are
You're
fucked.
actually gonna drop it. Oh my god. Oh, I am in major anticipation of this now. But yeah, so I think Chad Gable's got to win. Chad Gable's got to win this title this time. And then you're looking at where to next. Sheamus.
Oh, massively. Massively. But that's your world title scene.
No, Sheamus has to win the IC title.
No.
Yeah,
Ship
come
sailed.
on. It's the
Ship
one
sailed.
that's missing. It's the
Not
one that's
everyone
missing.
not everyone needs to be a Grand Slam champion. That's
But
why John Cena should never
he's
be
been
Grand
in the company for like 15 years, man. Like,
So
and it's not like he's missing the world title. He's
Taker was
missing
in
the
take
Intercontinental
fucking
title.
fucking Taker was in WWE for 30 years of a career and he never won the US or IC titles. You don't have to win
Yeah,
every
but
title.
Taker's
Don't get
yeah, but
greedy.
Taker's different. Taker didn't fight that often.
But when he was at his when he was doing his bit his badass run between '02 and '04, well before he Survivors and all that, when he was working near enough like pretty much every week and he was working good matches, he could have won either or. They still didn't do it. Like we don't need Sheamus to be at Grand Slam. We
Yeah,
don't
but
need Cena to
Undertaker
be
has
17
some
times.
mystique around him, and Undertaker had the streak. I
Yeah, but
feel like
that's
it
what I
would
meant
be
before he got to
nice.
that. Yeah,
I
I
feel like
don't think
this
we
would
need
just be
Sheamus.
nice, and I think that Shane. Well, I think that you need a babyface who's going to put Gable in his place,
Okay. Well, now
and I think
you've got my interest. Carry
that
on.
5 or 6 months down the line, Sheamus could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
it would even, because even if Gable said like, it's okay, I can out wrestle Sheamus, it's fine, I can out wrestle Sheamus. But then Sheamus' whole
True.
point is, I don't need to out wrestle you, I need to out fight you.
I can just last the distance. I can last the fight.
No, Sheamus just, I have pure power. You have all this technique, but I have pure power.
Yeah.
And I could see the match being nice as well, because that's the good thing about Chad Gable being champ. He will have nice matches with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, because the other guy, because then what I do with the IC title, you're like, okay, great, you got it from Chad Gable onto Sheamus. What they do? That sets you up perfectly for Pete Dunne. Any
Not the
any objection?
not the not the first name I was thinking of, but he was in there.
Okay.
He wasn't the first name. The other names I had in mind was Ilja Dragunov,
Okay, yeah. I have something different in his future, but yeah.
and the other 100% for me is Braun Breaker.
Yeah, yeah, Braun Breaker could be, but then Braun Breaker could always be the guy that then beats Pete Dunne. Like once
Yeah,
again,
Braun
I feel
Breaker for
like
me needs to have
if
that
Sheamus wins the
confrontation.
IC title, the build for like the history is very recent for Pete Dunne.
Yeah, man made me a bloody Peaky Blinder, so I want to kick his fucking head in.
Exactly.
and then Braun just brutalizes him after he wins the title. Like
Yeah,
Braun just appears and just beats the piss out of him.
yeah, exactly.
And I would take that. And there you go. There's your follow up. And that works really well. Because Braun, for me, is people think Carmelo Hayes is the higher ceiling. No, I think it goes Braun, Trick Williams, then Carmelo Hayes. Out of those three,
I think Carmelo Hayes is better than Trick.
I don't. I personally don't. I think Carmelo Hayes is good, but I think
Yeah,
Trick's so much better.
fair
I
enough.
think
Fair enough.
Braun needs to get the IC
So
title or the US title to then get
yeah.
himself into a position where he can then be
So
world
when
champ.
would you have Gable drop it? I
SummerSlam.
imagine you have him pick it up in France.
I'd have him pick him up at Backlash, and then I'd have him lose it at SummerSlam.
Okay.
He does need.
And
It's not that he needs to have a long run, because he can have a second run that goes longer, but his first run just needs to at least maintain that he's at least beaten the one that he
he's
couldn't
a
beat the
threat.
one.
He's got the title. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's beaten the one that Gable physically could not beat. But he beat the one that Gunther couldn't beat in that way. So then you've got that. I think you then have Gunther. Actually, no, to be fair, there's one other one. There's one other name I just forgot about. Sorry.
Go on.
Because they did do a fatal four-way on the live events. Gunther was involved. So was Gable. But the final name was Finn Balor.
Yes, Finn Balor's been on the circuit.
And Nakamura also had the WWE title match as well in the live events.
Yeah. So like again,
So there's other
I feel like
contenders there.
Finn
Nakamura's
is the
title
kind
runs
of
were good.
name that you could have. You could slot Finn anywhere really. Like if he has to do mid card, he has to do mid card, and if he has to do tag, he has to do tag. And if you want him in the main event scene, he absolutely doesn't hurt it. But yeah, many options for it. So who do you have Gable drop it to? Do you have Gable drop it to Balor?
Yeah, but is Balor going to be a babyface?
By that point, I think so.
Because
Might even be
I would
Demon Balor.
take that. Please no, never again. That character's dead. Demon Balor's
It's not
dead. They
character.
need
He
more.
just, he just paints himself. It's fine. Yeah.
I liked when he painted himself like in New Japan, when he painted himself like Venom and Carnage, but Demon Balor as a whole is dead. If Balor beat
Fair.
Gable, if Balor beat Gable, then you could have Balor drop it. Could Sheamus be a heel then? Could Sheamus
To
turn heel?
Sheamus.
Sheamus heel. Gable then reclaims. No, actually, no. I think Pete Dunne's right. You do that. Gable wins the title. Gable drops it to Balor. Balor then drops it to Sheamus. His title reign doesn't need to last long because, again, it's just winning the title. So his title lasts a week, 2 weeks. Pete Dunne beats him.
Yeah, loses an open challenge on Raw.
Yeah. Pete Dunne takes the title. Braun Breaker then batters him on the minute the match ends. Braun Breaker holds the title to, say, Royal Rumble. And then I would then give a full. This is when I would then go for a seriously long run. I would go 8-9 months with Chad Gable then.
So
Chad
you'd have
Gable's.
Gable beat Breaker.
Yes. And then
That, yeah.
he holds the title to, say, SummerSlam. And then SummerSlam, I would give the title to a promoted Trick Williams. And just let it go.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah,
That's what I would do. And then in that
that's quite
meantime,
distant booking, yeah.
and in the meantime, it lets you build Braun Breaker in a sense where he's the main threat on Raw or SmackDown, whichever
Yeah.
one the IC title is going to be on. You let him build that way, and it puts him in the solid direction of I'm coming for the WWE or World Heavyweight title, and he wins it. For me, Braun Breaker has to be world champion within the next 2 years. He has to.
Yeah, no, he should. He should absolutely get that sort of push, and you can obviously do Braun Breaker and Gunther at a
Yes.
point as well. Um, But yeah, so then we have the women's world title. I understand that we've gone over the 2 hours, but we'll go a
which is
little
fine.
longer just to
I
round
like
off what we're
people are
doing here.
moaning about this. People are moaning that it's been done in the Battle Royal. I'm not. I like the fact it's been done in the
Yeah,
Battle Royal
well,
because it could
so
give you a very shock surprise.
So Rhea loses her belt through injury. She has to vacate it.
Hmm.
And it gets us to the point where it feels obvious that Liv Morgan's going to win.
I hope it's not, but it
Would
seems
you,
likely.
would you go, who would you offer up?
Well,
If it's
I
not
wish
going to
it
be
would go
Liv
to.
Morgan, who would you
Well,
offer up?
well, I wish it would be Shayna Baszler, but they're not going to do it. So
Hmm.
I would go for something. I would go one of three names and tell me what you think.
Go on
So
then.
one option right there is Nia Jax. Again, I think I'm not much of a Nia Jax fan, but to be fair, she's not
No,
hurting
but
anyone.
she's been doing better. Yeah.
She's not hurting anyone, so it's safe.
Yep.
The second one is Tiffany Stratton decides to fuck off on SmackDown and goes, you know what, I might just
Yeah,
appear in
I
this
would
battle
like
royal.
that. I would like if Tiffany Stratton just showed up and won it.
She does a Kurt Angle. She just goes from one brand to the next and just wins the main title and just runs with it. Or the third name, because in Cleveland, I'd have a returning Alexa Bliss.
Oh, that'd be great.
I don't want her anywhere near this whole Wyatt returning faction. I don't want her anywhere near it. I want the
Yeah.
goddess version of her back, and she just wins the title, and she just runs with it because she's a good heel champion, and she can remind Becky Lynch that just because she's small doesn't mean that she's not a good wrestler when she's better than Becky.
See, it's funny that you mentioned Bucky Lynch because
I don't want.
that's
I
who,
hope that happens. I hope that does not
if they're
happen.
not going Liv Morgan,
Yeah,
that's who I think they're going to go.
I really hope not. The weird
And
thing is,
I
well,
think they're going to go with her because she's currently on the live circuit.
yeah.
Despite, every rumor was basically, oh, she's taking time off after Mania.
She
She
was scheduled for the
apparently
live
isn't.
events, though. She was scheduled for the live events before this whole rumored time off, so I think this was contract
Yeah, so
obligation.
maybe they've made it so, okay, I mean, you could go and take your time off, or another quick little women's world title reign, put Liv Morgan over, and then
Maybe,
go for your time off.
maybe. The only thing about Liv Morgan though is her first title reign was so bad, and I'll be honest, I'm not ready for a second Liv Morgan title
I
run.
blame who she fought.
It's not just
She
Ronda
didn't
though; it's
get
a
a
problem.
fair shake. Yeah, but Shayna was there as well. No one cared. No
Shayna should
one
have
cared.
held that title. She should have held that title by now. It's not even a joke.
Yeah, but still, no one cared. And I still don't think anyone will care.
I think if you run
So,
her like the NXT champion that she was, and you make her just do the same thing on Raw, people will care because she's for me the best women's champion NXT had. I know a lot of people preferred Asuka, and I liked Asuka's run, but for me, Shayna's second run was the best thing that title had.
fair enough.
Because at the end of the day, like if you work her like the killer that she was, you've got something.
No, I don't hate that shit. That's fair. So if we say that it is Liv, you'd have the returning Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam win, right? If she's not in the Battle Royal, she's not back by then.
Yeah,
You would have a
I,
returning Alexa Bliss win in
yeah,
her hometown
I would.
and a huge babyface moment, and then the following night, there's like you deserve it chance, and she's like,
Well, it is
almost
on Raw.
tearing up,
Well,
and then she
yeah,
she
it
could
would be on
like
Raw.
so what I'm saying is she would win that match, and then like she'd come out, it would be like the opening thing on Raw, the night after SummerSlam, and the crowd would go in, you
No, no,
deserve
no,
it, and
no,
she'd be
no,
like,
no, 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 no. Fucking Booker T has just gave away a penalty.
race.
No, to be fair, a lot of Man United fans call Wan-Bissaka Booker T. He's just gave a fucking penalty in the
Reece,
93rd minute.
Reece, no, no, not not like this.
It's over. Oh well, we've lost.
Ah,
We've lost.
maybe not. It's only a draw. You have extra time.
I don't want extra time. I don't want
Hmm.
extra
Good
time.
comment there. Good comment there,
SummerSlam is
Kenobi. Yeah, yeah.
definitely a
But
better.
yeah,
It
so the
would
night
be.
after SummerSlam, I'd have her come out, like almost like a prom queen acceptance thing, kind of. So like she's stood there and the crowd's like, "You deserve it." She's got the belt on her shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, thank you. I mean, I never needed you to say that 'cause I'm better than you all anyway." It just going that far with it and really bring that bitchy cheerleader vibe back out of her. And then yeah, I'd have Alexa Bliss champ for a long time because you could get a lot of mileage out of that. Um, I'll let you observe the penalty, I suppose. But I was going to ask you,
Oh, I'm well,
say,
I'm watching. I'm
yeah,
watching it. I'm annoyed.
well, say Alexa Bliss did win the belt at SummerSlam. Would you have her
Yeah,
have a long reign with it, or who would you have take it off her?
I think it'd be quite risky to have a long run for her. I think because obviously she's not like what first year as a mother. I don't know if how much of a commitment she would be. I think it'd be quite hard.
Would she have to do much in the ring though, or could
I
she
hope
miss it?
not. Yeah, they've scored. Um, 3-0 down to 3-3. Like this is just game like this is embarrassing. Just fuck this team. You know what? Just to hell.
Oh, right, okay. So who would you have take it off Bliss, and then we'll do the world title, and I'll let you go and watch extra time in peace if it
I
gets there,
don't
because you could still score, you could still concede.
I don't think I don't think it should be Rhea Ripley. I think that
No,
would just be too easy. And I think that would be kind of
yeah.
ridiculous. I'm just gonna leave that up now for the rest of the stream. I'm just leaving that up because that's fucking accurate.
Oh,
That's
for for who could beat Bliss if she's not going to have this long like Miz like run. Um,
you know it's mad.
the choice
I
that
think
you would go with would be Jade Cargill.
no, not for
No?
me. No, I would have
Okay.
Jade Cargill beat the person I've got in mind.
Okay.
I'd have Jade Cargill beat Chelsea Green
Would you have Chelsea Green beat Alexa Bliss?
with Money in the Bank.
Oh, okay.
I'd have Chelsea Green win Money in the Bank and have her cash in on whoever's the world champion. Then Jade Cargill just takes that title.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can see it. And then to the main event title scene over on Raw. Damian Priest is the current champion. Reese is ready to end everything, it seems. But we're here for one last title discussion.
Yep.
And yeah, so Damian Priest, current champ. I think this is the most written one. Like, this is the one that seems the most in place to me. If I was to
Yes.
bet on any of these happening the way that I say it's going to happen, it'll be this one. Priest, your current champion. I think Drew McIntyre does re-sign. I don't see why he wouldn't. I think he'll win it in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Drew wins the world title in Glasgow. He'll have it until Punk is fit. He
Mm-hmm.
and Punk will have a feud. I don't think Punk will beat him first time.
You
So I
shouldn't.
think Drew has to get one over on Punk first.
Yeah, it
It's
has to.
2-1 right now. Punk not only cost him the title, but cost him the number one contenders match as well. I feel like if the first time that Punk and Drew are in the ring, Punk wins, that
Yeah.
cheapens this whole deal. I think Drew has to win first time. There has to be some element of an obstacle for CM Punk when he comes back. But he should win the title, and that
Yeah,
would probably be Survivor Series.
that would be nice because they don't do title matches at Survivor Series anymore, and I hate that.
Then we've flipped the script. Punk is guaranteed the WrestleMania match, but he's not guaranteed the main event.
Hmm.
So he starts encouraging someone to win the Royal Rumble. And he's like, whoever wins the Royal Rumble, pick me. We want the main event. You want to fight the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. That would tee you up for Seth Rollins to win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble.
Does it have to be Seth Rollins though to win that
You've
Rumble?
got to do Seth and Punk. And I think it makes more sense to have Seth come back and win the Rumble. We know he's taking an extended break. We know he has legitimate injuries.
He's
And
off
Seth
2 to 8
Rollins last won the
months.
Rumble in 2019.
His title, his return schedule is between 2 to 8 months.
He
That's
could
been
easily
confirmed
make the
today.
Rumble. Yeah, he could easily make the Rumble. If they're saying 2 to 8, 8
Yep.
seems like it's not going to be the case.
He likes it.
Thank you very
Roman
much.
Kenobi's on your side. I wouldn't mind it.
Nice, yeah. So I think Seth would then win the Rumble. That sets you up Seth and Punk WrestleMania night one main event or night two main event because we don't know what's going to happen with Cody's title. Maybe CM Punk and Seth Rollins will be the bigger deal. If you want to know
Yeah.
what will happen with Cody Rhodes' title, we will talk about SmackDown probably after the draft, but we'll talk about the belts we didn't talk about here. So that it only
Yes.
gives us
You're hosting.
four belts that we haven't spoken about. But we will deal with them. Obviously, next up, we're going to have to review tonight's Carnage. But obviously, it's not time to go yet.
SummerSlam.
I like the shout. No, I like the shout either way. To be fair, there's got to be Cody Rock at some point. Absolutely. Is there
Yeah. I
anything
think
you
we'll
would do
get.
differently for the world heavyweight before I disappear and we call this a day? You can go watch your team maybe bottle it against Coventry.
If we bottle this, then Ten Hag needs to get sacked after the game.
Oh, it's an all
Uh,
timer. It's an all timer.
it would be. I don't think I would. Except I just want to know where Gunther's position lies. That's all I want to know.
When he beats Cody. But you can hear more about that next time that
That
we
works for
talk
me.
about title pictures. But yeah, do you
Absolutely.
want to do the honours while you've still got some will to live about you?
Absolutely. To everyone that has watched, thank you very much. It has been an absolute fucking hell. All right, we're gonna end on that comment. I would have Gilbert do a jackhammer and steals the belt. That's made me
Yes.
laugh. That's got me howling.
Dwayne Gill, give him his flowers.
That would be, or Eugene might return and do the as it was called on SmackDown versus Raw, 2006, the special elbow. I hate the fact they did that to him.
Oh.
I really do. But that is what it was actually called. But
Yeah, it was a
eh,
different time.
well, turned on the air gun by mistake. In circumstance, though, to everyone that's watched, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Stay tuned. Next week is it again another road that we will cross paths with. But in the circumstance, James Ellsworth, let's not go there. But in
No.
the manner of it, absolutely great. So we're going to get out here. Thanks all for watching. We're on 123 subscribers. 123 is ABC. But in the Steelchair's case, it's goodbye for now.